The following program is intended for mature audiences.
What do you say we have a rock and roll party?
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Boudreaux pretty much bottomed out this year.
The Jets were just far and away the better team. Like, I don't know what you want to do. And that's why
don't know.
The Wild fired their general manager today, which is probably the right decision because they just were never good enough. Like, I wouldn't even blame this. The Wild's troubles aren't a Boudreaux thing. He just happened to be hook on with the wrong franchise that has a history of this sort of garbage.
Bruce Boudreaux? Well, I don't know. He doesn't have the best history.
Yeah,
he's kind of the Andy Reid of the NHL.
I would honestly rather have Bruce Boudreaux than Randy Carlyle. I'd rather have Boudreaux back.
Anybody want John Tortorella?
John Tortorella?
I take John Tortorella.
Tortorella? What did
honestly.
I say? Tortorella?
Yes.
I would take every other coach currently employed in the National Hockey League than Randy Carlyle. But, you know, the Ducks think that this is a good thing to keep going with, so we're just going to keep doing this.
Oh, Randy's back for another year?
Oh, yeah, Randy's back. But, hey, we fired the assistant coach in charge of the defenseman today. So
that'll solve everything.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there was a defensive problem, but, I mean, Mike, do you remember what position Randy Carlyle played in the National Hockey League?
Oh, wasn't he a defenseman?
He was a Norris Trophy winning defenseman, yes. So,
hey, Mike,
you know,
get a little closer to your microphone, please.
Okay, hello.
That's a little better.
Yeah, I've got it like right up to my mouth. So.
Oh, all right. Well,
but yeah.
Well, I'm, to really give you an idea of things, I'm sitting here watching the lightning round on some financial show as the pregame to the Jackets and the Caps game tonight. Because it's on CSN or CNBC.
Well, they don't start for another half hour, right?
No, but it's just funny to me. It's like there's some guy named Kramer. I don't know what his first name is, Jim, I think, maybe. But it's like, let's do the lightning round now. And I thought, this is exactly what we were talking about last week with the games being all over the place, is that we would have some stupid show on before the game. And I'm watching Financial Lightning Round, and some guy calls in and goes, I've got a portfolio built up and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, this is perfect pregame hockey. No problem.
So,
well, I mean, appropriately enough, though, we joked about the Golf Channel situation before the playoffs. It seemed appropriate, considering that's where Game 4 of Duck Sharks ended up being, was on the Golf Channel.
Oh, yes.
Stupid team.
Well,
what happened with the Ducks?
Literally, the only way to describe it is they did everything wrong, and the Sharks did everything right. They just flat out weren't good enough. The Sharks were the Ducks. The Ducks were disorganized. They were slow. They were unmotivated, and they were undisciplined. They took too many damn penalties. They gave up too many odd man rushes. And when it came to generating offense themselves, they couldn't get out of their own zone if they're out of a wet paper bag. You know, their breakout couldn't get through a wet paper bag. They were so bad. Just so incredibly bad. And I thought, well, maybe it's just Cam Fowler is a problem. You know, he would have helped. If he were in the series and not injured, he would have helped them do a lot of things. And sure, he would have helped. Maybe helped them win a game. But they got so thoroughly swept. I've literally never seen this team play this bad. Even, because I think they've only been swept 2 other times. 97 against the Red Wings and 99 against the Red Wings. Those were when the Red Wings were at the height of their powers, obviously, and the Mighty Ducks were still a relatively new entity, and they weren't expected to do anything. So when you get swept by the Red Wings, I think they won the Cup both those years. Or maybe one of those was a Avalanche or Devil year. But either way, those were excusable. This was inexcusable. This is a team with talent that shouldn't have been so outmatched and outclassed.
They played
aspect of the game.
Every game like it was a Bruce Boudreau Game 7.
Yeah, I mean, definitely games 1 and 3. 3 was, if I was in charge of this whole thing, Randy Carlisle would have been fired on the spot after game 3. The 8-1, loss where they just looked like they weren't even there. They showed up in game 4. Game 4 was their best game of the series. Which as it should have been with your whole season on the line, but
a little too late at that point.
Right, exactly. Too little, too late. The way that I put it was, if they had played the way they played in game 4, if that was game 1, then I would have said, you know what? Okay, bad bounce here or there, one play here or there. They'll be able to come back in game 2 and do it. Even if game 4 was game 2, I'd say, okay, we're down 0-2, but there was stuff in this game that I could say that they could build off this and maybe take a couple games in San Jose. But there wasn't anything through the first 3 games that I was going to latch onto and say, yeah, this is where I think this team can do what the Kings did to these Sharks a couple years ago. They just didn't have it. Just flat out didn't have it. Even if they had somehow managed to come back against the Sharks, they wouldn't have got past the Golden Knights. Just nope, not good enough in any sense. And they're going to cut some of the dead weight in contracts. I thought the dead weight was also going to be Randy Carlisle, but apparently he's going to come back, and he understands that he needs to change, and we all need to play faster. And when he was hired in the press conference, they said he was hired for accountability. Randy Carlisle was hired for accountability. This team didn't look accountable to me in this series, and that's inexcusable. There's no reason he should be still the head coach of this team.
No one showed up in Columbus tonight. The arena is empty. They're as resigned as I am. They're like, screw it, we're not even going. No, it's just they have all the blue lights on, so it's hard to see people in the seats. Yeah. It's pretty funny.
McCarthy is there tonight.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
So you don't have any hope. You're not buying into this thing that Tortorella promising a Game 7.
No, and I honestly, if you think about it, and maybe you guys will disagree, but I think if Braden Holtby starts the first 2 games of the series, it probably never gets this far. I think that was the difference because –
yeah,
I don't know why, because I didn't follow the Caps all season. I don't know who the other guy even is or whatever, but once they made the switch to Holtby, it's like the whole series just changed. The Jackets. Well, and I don't know if he's the sole difference, but he certainly made some sort of difference because
Holtby had struggled down the stretch, and so Grubauer came in and was hot, towards the end of the year. So that was the reasoning for putting him in. Yeah, and you look at those 2 games that the Jackets did win. They're both overtime games. Yeah. It could have gone either way. But here's the thing, though. In the other 3 games, it's not like the Jackets have been blown out.
Well, they lost
They've
games,
been right there.
Game 5, 4-1, I thought, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that got away from them late. They were in each one of those games just as much as the other 2. So it's easy to say that.
Well, it's just disappointing.
But I think they could be in there still.
It's disappointing that they get the 2-0 lead on the road, which against a team, let's be honest, is just better than they are. And to come home, and all you got to do is really win 1, and you're in the driver's seat the rest of the way with the home crowd that is as fired up as you're ever going to see it, and they couldn't get it done.
Yeah, and if they take that game 3 overtime, and Washington's down 3-0,
yep, it's done.
Then you really got a.
But now. It's turned around, so now they're up against the wall. I don't know. Maybe they win tonight. I would love to see them win tonight because I think once that happens, Game 7, it's the Caps. All bets are off at this point. You never know what might happen. So I'd like to see it, but it was disappointing, especially the Game 3 overtime. Like you said, Zach, they win that, and that's it. Then you're on house money the rest of the way. But now they've just kind of played themselves right out of a position of being in control of the whole series till now they're fighting for their lives, but you never know.
Well, this was the first time the Jackets had even led the playoffs.
All things considered, when you sit right down and look at it, it was no one expected them to win the first 2 in DC anyway. Yep. But just to see them kind of, I wouldn't even say fall flat at home, but just not be able to close out just at least one of those games, it would have been great. It would have been really great.
Yeah. No, I would. I'm gonna bank on them winning tonight and pushing it to a Game 7.
That'd be great.
And it would be the first Game 7 in Jackets history, and it'd be something for everybody.
Well, like I said, once you get to the Capitals, their playoff history, you get them to Game 7, anything can happen.
You never know.
Yeah.
And hey, the Capitals also do have a history of being up 3-2, going on the road, losing Game 6, and then losing Game 7 at home.
Yeah.
So this, there's still plenty of ways for that series to break. I think that's been the most competitive of all the series, the most fun to watch.
Yeah,
and then the one that's right below it is probably this Boston-Toronto series, which is going to get Game 6 started up here in a second.
They're singing the anthem as we speak.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Canada!
Are they in Toronto?
Actually,
Mike?
they're doing the banner right now. Yeah, they're in Toronto.
After the whole attack thing today and all that?
Yeah,
they just had a moment of silence.
These things, I mean, I don't know. I don't really, other than what Mike said about it, I don't know what happened or anything. But, was it terrorism? Obviously it was terrorism. But was it, the kind of terrorism we expected, Mike? Do we know yet or not?
No, they haven't released anything yet, so time will tell.
Well,
time will tell as they do their investigation. So but it's Toronto is a city that comes together very well, and so I'm confident.
Yeah.
I don't know. Toronto's a great place, a great city, and it always comes together when it has to. So I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. The thing I don't like about these sort of things is it as sad as it is, I almost kind of brushed it aside, like not to disrespect the people involved, but it's like, oh, a terrorist attack? Okay, yeah.
Those things, I mean, again, we don't know.
And we had another shooting, like in a Waffle House or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, oh yeah, there's another one.
Well, that's the thing. You get used to it. It's become so commonplace. At least it seems like it's so commonplace. I don't know that necessarily it is. I think it's just that, I've read articles where they say that, that all this stuff really isn't any worse than it's ever been. Not that it's good by any definition, but that it's not more frequent or any worse than it's ever been. It's just that it gets covered much more heavily now than it ever did, and that's why it seems as bad. But the fact that we're at the point now where we're just like, oh, another one, and you just kind of go on about your day, it's just awful. And I don't know what happened in Toronto, but, if I had to bet, I know what I'd bet on, and it just really aggravates me to know.
Van in North York, which is North Toronto, North York, jumped onto the curb, and it seems intentionally ran over people. 9 dead, 16 injured. Last I saw.
Yeah.
So, and there's the puck drop. So, but yeah, no, this Leafs series has been. Leafs Bruins series, the first 2 games were hard to watch. Not gonna lie, not good for the Maple Leafs. But I'm gonna be a bit of a Minnesota Wild fan here and say the Leafs should be up 3-2 in this series, because Game 4 they outplayed the Bruins. They lost 3-1, but they outplayed them. So
yeah,
I mean, it sucks, especially because losing that game put them in a 3-1 hole when it otherwise would have been a 2-2. Evening the series back up. So it sucks, but at the same time, it's good to know that, at least they showed that they weren't just going to die out there. And now here we are. They won Game 5. I don't think a lot of people expected them to win Game 5 after the way they played in Boston the previous 2 games, but they did. And
in your words, your gift words, Mike, they survived.
They survive. I love that movie. But, yeah, Freddie Anderson played on his head in that third period. The Bruins game out, guns blazing that third period. And, say what you will about Freddie, he stood on his head when he had to.
Oh yeah, no, he's a good goalie. He just, sometimes he occasionally has a breakdown at a bad time.
Well, let's be honest. He's no Cam Ward, but he's not bad.
Has anyone? He's still on the Hurricanes, by the way.
Yeah, which the Hurricanes, to tell you the state of the Hurricanes, their coach wasn't fired for not making the playoffs. He just resigned. He was like, you know what?
I don't want to do this anymore.
I bring up Cam Ward because I bought a used copy of NHL 17, which would have been for the 16 season.
Mm-hmm.
And
the 16-17 season, yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to play a game and I wanted to see the jerseys, so I played the Hurricanes so I could see the Whalers jerseys. There's Cam Ward starting in goal, and I found it funny. But
I mean, good for him. He's like the John Tortorella of goalies, in that he's gotten a lot of mileage out of that one cup win.
Well, that's funny. In the game, the commentary was, blah blah blah, MVP of the whatever year that was, 2006 when the Canes won.
Yeah, 2006.
Yeah. It was just funny. And we were talking about Anderson. I was just like, yep, he's no Cam Ward, though. But, thank God, right?
Well, few goalies are Cam Ward. He's the immortal Cam Ward, really.
Yeah.
Hey, I want Toronto to go as far as they can. If the Maple Leafs make the Cup final, I will get a Frederik Andersen Maple Leaf jersey with the Cup patch on it.
Yeah, I want to. I don't know. I mean, I have more faith in Mike's Leafs than I do in my Blue Jackets. I'll say that. But
I'm pulling. You know what?
But I don't think either one of these teams. I'm with you, Mike. I don't think either one of these teams should be in the position they're in right now. The Jackets or the Leafs. The Jackets. I won't say they're better than Washington because they're not. But I do think I don't know. I thought they outplayed Washington in Game 3, which is the only time I could really comfortably say that. Where they just, the first two games you're like, whoa, hang on for dear life and hope you put one in. But the third game, I thought they played better and ended up losing. And that was just, I don't know.
Also, obvious statement, though, as I've got this game on. Boy, the Maple Leafs are a fast team.
Yeah, hey. I would love to see that on a regular basis.
Yeah, I know, man. It's like you watch. I love seeing speed because, Zach, I don't think either one of our teams has it.
I'm going to say, no. Zach's team is Randy Puck, which means it's all about the truculence, you see.
Truculence, dump and chase. Everyone stops at the blue line while we wait for the puck to get out of our own defensive end. Yeah, it's...
I'm still holding out hope because the dream is still alive. All Canada Stanley Cup Finals, Toronto, Winnipeg. Let's do it. Come on now.
I think those Jets are some bad mofos, man.
I'm telling you, I like that Jets team a real hell of a lot. And the whiteout, great. First playoff series win.
They've really got to let the Jets wear white at home. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on, NHL. Just stop being stupid.
I think everybody should wear white at home.
Did you see how happy the people of Winnipeg were? Mm-hmm. Because they were grateful. They had suffered, and they earned that playoff win.
They lost their first team.
They lost their team for 14 years.
Yeah.
Get it back, suck for 7, and then finally, you get the breakthrough, and it's like, yes. Did you guys see the crowds in Winnipeg after they won that series?
Yeah, they had people standing out there on the streets, and
downtown Winnipeg was like shoulder to shoulder, clogged from sidewalk to sidewalk.
That's why
I never thought I would say that I would want to party in downtown Winnipeg.
Okay, come on,
but
now.
I would. That looks fun.
I tell you, the picture of downtown Winnipeg that I looked at that one night we were talking about it, it struck me as Toledo without the charm. And that's saying something, folks.
What did you say? Like, this is just a city that's been beaten down by winter?
Yeah, it's just beaten to death. What was I going to say?
But hey, you know what? They love their Jets. They love their hockey.
And that's what I was going to bring up is that, from a pure, analytical standpoint, Seattle probably is a better market for a hockey team. But you tell me, if you put a team in Quebec City, bring the Nordiques back, basically, you're going to get the same exact thing. Whereas I don't know, unless Seattle, which, with the draft rules being set up the same way, may be able to come out and pull a Vegas. But anything short of that.
I'm just going to say this right here. Seattle is – the difference is that the one thing you could say in Vegas's defense was that, like, the NHL would be the only game in town at the pro level. Like, but Seattle is so saturated. It's got
you've got the Hawks, the Mariners. You've got even that stupid soccer team is popular. What are they called? The Sounders.
Yeah, but you've got the fucking Seawolves, the rugby team, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, you put an NHL team in Seattle. Not only are they destined to be this, behind the goddamn the goddamn Sonics, who are going to be soon to follow, but they're good. They're going to be playing. They're going to be less of a big deal than the soccer team. Come on now.
Yeah. Wouldn't you rather, though? I mean, I just think that from a pure aesthetic standpoint, I think it would look a lot better to have 15,000 lunatic Quebec fans in the stands every night than Seattle with its bigger market, more revenue streams, blah, blah, blah. I just don't know that. I get it from a financial standpoint and all that, but you can't tell me that from a pure fan and hockey standpoint that Quebec City is not the better place to put the next team.
No, of course. But, I think Seattle has proven itself through the junior hockey ranks that it's a good hockey market. And they sold out their ticket sale, the season ticket drive that these things have to do.
Yeah.
They sold it out, within an hour.
Well, and they are. I mean, to be fair, they are a great sports market. Seattle is. It's really good. They support their teams.
But the thing that will be hard to see with Seattle is, I do agree, it's going to be saturated, because not only do you have the four major teams there already with the Sounders included. You're like you said, the Zombie Sonics soon to follow. And then not only that, but the University of Washington has a pretty good following there too.
Right.
So I don't know. It'll be crowded, and maybe one of those teams will, kind of get naturally, the Darwinism, natural selection sort of thing. One of them will suffer.
God help me if the NHL puts a team in Seattle and they end up, playing second fiddle to the goddamn rugby team.
I don't think it's going to go that far, but there's a really good chance they're going to be second fiddle to the stupid soccer team.
They will be
That's
the
Sounders. The Sounders get 60,000 people. They sell it out like an actual football game.
Yeah, I don't get that, but okay.
Hey,
whoa, boy! Did you guys just see that? That was close.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I think I'm a bit ahead of you. I think I'm a bit ahead of you, Greg, because that happened like a minute ago.
See, I'm on my iPad. Keep in mind now, so I may be watching the Summit series from 1972.
So
we don't know exactly.
I know what you're talking. I know exactly what you're talking about. But when Mike said, "Oh, puck drop," I looked up and they were still lining up for the face-off, and I was like, "Uh-oh, Mike's a little bit ahead of me." And now I know that I'm ahead of you too. So I think we're in three different time zones with this.
Well, I have it. They were showing it on my TV too, but I've got that ready for the Jackets game. I've got the Leafs and the Bruins on the iPad, but
right.
So I might be a little more up to date on the TV, but looks like they've left and gone to Columbus anyway. So, but yeah, it's been I don't know. We had Vegas win their first series, so they still don't know any type of pain whatsoever yet as fans.
Yeah,
none.
Fuck them.
Not a bit.
I care not for that team anymore. Such a good story. Don't care. Literally don't care. Of all things, I want the Sharks to clean their clocks.
Wow.
Fuck off, Vegas. I want nothing but bad things for you.
I was kind of impressed that the Avalanche took a couple games from Nashville, considering how bad they were last year to what they've become this year. That's a nice move, man.
Nashville has not exactly wowed me so far in the playoffs.
No, Nashville didn't wow me, but I was impressed by what the Avalanche brought to that series. And who knows what they could have been if they had their starting goalie. They were down to their third stringer there.
Who knows what could have been if they had actually won games 1 and 2 where they had the lead and didn't choke it away. So that's the thing. Like, you look at the first 4 games of the series, and it's like Colorado very easily could have been the one up 3-1. It wasn't like I know that Nashville, President's Trophy winner, and blah 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 blah. Their fans invented having fun at hockey games. Catfish,
biscuits,
biscuits. But I think Winnipeg's got a shot to blow their noses.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nashville won the season series.
3 games to 2 they did.
Yeah, but they were tight games. They were competitive games, and I think playing in Winnipeg in the regular season is not the same as playing in Winnipeg with this whiteout. And especially now that they're in the second round and they can basically feel like, hey, maybe this is the first time Winnipeg has ever had a championship caliber team. Mm-hmm. We'll see how they treat that. So that'll be fun.
Look. I'm saying any Nashville fans who are traveling up to Winnipeg to see the game, I expect to hold to the same standards you demand other visiting teams. And,
first off, do you think anyone from Nashville is actually traveling up to go to Winnipeg?
Well, they're such great fans, best fans in the NHL.
Yeah, but and that's all well and good. And I think if they were playing in Detroit or wherever, I'd almost say okay. But I just don't see them going all the way out to the prairies to watch a hockey game. I'm sorry. And
all I'm saying is that if any of them do go up, they're not allowed to wear their Nashville jerseys, and they all have to wear white because we wouldn't want to disrespect the home fans like that.
Yeah, well, that's true. Hey, look, man, they wrote the book on hockey fandom. Let's go now. It was, and when you see, you're looking at it from the wrong perspective, Mike.
Okay. Yeah.
Nashville hockey is so big that it actually what's the word I'm looking for here?
Transcends.
I was going to say transpires, but that's not quite right. Transcends just sports. They did like a playoff guide on the cover of the cooking section because it's just that damn big. We looked at it as hokey and stuff. We didn't see it from the proper light. That it's just the sport is so huge that even the cooking section or whatever it is, the lifestyle section with biscuits and hockey and the fact that sometimes they call the puck a biscuit. I mean, come on. I don't know. Who do they play next, Nashville? They've got Winnipeg, right?
Winnipeg.
That's going to be a hell of a series, I think. That might be a knockdown drag-out.
Yeah, that's the Western Conference Final in the second round is what that is.
I thought so, too. I thought that was the best series they could come up with out of the West, basically, at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it can't be the Western Conference Finals because we have to do the stupid alignment thing that exists for reasons.
Yeah, well, the alignment thing is also going to pit either the Blue Jackets or the Capitals up against the worst team that they could possibly think to face, the Pittsburgh Penguins.
The two teams that don't want to play the Penguins in the playoffs
will play the
one
Penguins
of them is going to have to play the Penguins.
Yeah, and speaking of the Penguins, does anybody still want to talk about them being off their game and all that? And
No.
Okay, so I watched that game yesterday, and, Philly
Flyers were up 4-2.
Philly looked impressive until Pittsburgh just decided to start playing hockey. And then
don't they have do you think they got a little bit of like the I don't remember what, like the Blackhawks thing they had a few years ago where they were just like, okay, time to play, and boom, you were like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. The Penguins were down 4-2 going into the third. They got one back early, but they were down 4-3. And then the Flyers got a power play, a 4-on-3 power play, where it's like, okay, if they can score here, maybe even twice, they could put this game away and they could win this game and force a game 7. Didn't do a damn thing with the puck on the power play.
It was so goddamn anemic. It was bad. Pittsburgh
came right back down, scored, 20 seconds later scored, and then the pucks just started falling into the Philly net at the end of the game. It was just insane that like how quickly the Flyers are going to force a game 7 to, oh, nope.
It's 7-4 Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And Malkin wasn't even playing yesterday, right?
Malkin didn't play. No.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, Pittsburgh is I don't know what to do with them because again, like you said, they have that Blackhawks sort of switch where it's like we talked about it last week too, where it's the regular season doesn't matter. They just cared about getting in, and now that they're in, it's okay. Now we can play.
Yeah.
Because they won back-to-back cups. Like if there's any team that's got that veteran moxie that knows what to do, it's these guys, in spades. Out of the teams that are remaining now, are they the favorite?
I think so.
Yeah, would
you take them over Tampa?
I would because of the experience, because of the 2-time Cup champs. Yeah, I would.
I have not been overly impressed with Matt Murray so far, all things considered.
Yeah.
He hasn't been super strong, and that could be a problem.
Has Vasilevsky blown you away either?
No, not really.
Right.
I've got to give it's probably either them or Tampa. But then again, I don't even know because I've seen Tampa Boston games, right, where Tampa just got absolutely pantsed by Boston. So I can't even say
True.
that Tampa's that Tampa will even be there.
That's true.
So who the hell knows?
Yeah, but it definitely looks like Pittsburgh has somehow all the pieces. And Jake Gensel, this kid, he's a guy I don't understand. So he scored 4 goals in that game, right? He's like, you put him on any other team, he's like a third liner. But he plays on the wing with Crosby, and he's a playoff monster. He doesn't play that well. He plays okay in the regular season, but when it comes playoff time, he scores all of Pittsburgh's goals. I don't get it. It's so annoying. Ugh.
Well, everybody's concentrating on Crosby, so I mean, it makes it easier, right? Yeah, 4 straight goals. That's pretty impressive.
I think he's just the Pittsburgh Penguins version of quadruple Jesus. Like, where the fuck did this guy come from? Oh, he's just some guy the Penguins put in, and he scores 4 goals. Okay,
yeah. He's Claude with Mew without the asshole quotient.
Claude with Mew. I don't know, man. I think I got to go with the Penguins. I think as the favorites. I haven't seen Tampa play yet, so I don't know. But Pittsburgh sure looks pretty good to me. Yeah, and I know that whoever's walking away out of this series tonight between Columbus and Washington, they're done after that. You're not getting past Pittsburgh. I mean, maybe Washington does. I know the Jackets don't.
Yeah, the Jackets don't. Washington might have the shot. I picked them to win that series, if you remember. But that was just more on the. They might do it this time. Why the hell not? Not any sort of they match up well with them here and there and X and Y.
The Sharks finally broke through and made the finals a couple of years ago, so who knows? Anything's possible.
Yeah, but the Sharks also played the Penguins in the final.
Well, that's true.
And didn't too much with it. But
I think too
ultimately, does that really count? Where it's like we finally broke through to the finals. Oh, and now we're just like a footnote in the story of Sidney Crosby's greatness.
They lost in 5, right?
Yeah, I think so. I thought it was 5. I thought it was 5.
I know they won it in San Jose. I don't remember who was the higher seed.
I think I distinctly remember it being 6 because if they had won it in 5, Pittsburgh would have won it at home.
Right.
And,
okay.
The whole complaint was but then Pittsburgh dominated Game 6. It's like, Sharks, why the fuck did you couldn't you have just rolled over and died one game earlier?
I remember us even talking about that. We even talked about it on the show. Like, why did you bother? If you were just going to do this, why even bother?
Yeah. So. That's hell. If you asked Ducks general manager Bob Murray, he literally basically voiced that opinion in his postseason breakdown on exit interview day. He was like, I was calling my good friend Dale Talon in Florida. And he said, hey, we won the same amount of playoff games you did, but yet we have a much better draft pick than you. And he's like, bloody hell you do. That's the quote, literally, bloody hell we do. And it was just like, so are you trying to tell me that you would have rather missed the playoffs, Bob? Is that what I'm hearing? Which, I don't want to necessarily go back to that, but I just need to voice this thing because it drove me fucking insane when I was reading Bob Murray's comments. GM of the Anaheim Ducks. He basically said, if this was the playoff performance we were going to give, I'd rather have, not even made. He asked, was it worth even making the playoffs because of draft position? But he's also confident in Randy Carlyle going forward. But I would have said, so you realize that if we had missed the playoffs, people would be calling for Randy Carlyle's head even more than they would if we made the playoffs and lost? So were you still going to stand behind him if we missed the playoffs? Because that would have been even more unpopular decision then. But, whatever. Stick up for your buddy. Go buy him a new toaster. Whatever.
Hashtag Randy Puck.
Ugh. But let's see what else. Yeah. Oh, and did we mention Vegas winning the series last week? Did that happen already? No, I don't think so.
No, that hadn't happened yet, but
I don't even care. But
you know what? I know nobody wants to hear it, but they're good. I mean,
Fuck you, Vegas.
It's a combination of two things. In the same way that the Ducks did everything wrong, the Sharks did everything right. The Kings were competitive in most of those games. They were all very tight. But at the end of the day, the Kings scored 3 goals in 4 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's not going to get you very far.
No, and that's been the Kings' problem forever. And I just thought it was hilarious. You remember at the beginning of the year when the Kings hired an offensive coordinator as an extra assistant coach? Something no team has ever done.
Well, nice to show that paid dividends.
I'm just picturing an offensive coordinator. Okay, what's he doing during the game? I can see it if he's sitting down and going, okay, look, here, like Herb Brooks did in Miracle, okay, if you go here and blah, 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 this happens there and pass there, blah, blah, blah. But during the game, what are you doing?
You're trying to do that. I don't think he was a guy that was on the bench. I think he's one of those eye-in-the-sky coaches where he's watching everything from above, rating it
some
down.
Some NFL offensive coordinators do. They sit in the boxes, right? So.
Right.
Yeah, but they call plays and they communicate. Yeah, that's what I mean.
But he's either radioing it down to the assistant coaches or talking to them in between periods, like, "Hey, they're covering you up here. Let's try to run, the spider 2Y banana and get the puck into the corner."
I'm just saying. I'm just very happy that their decision to do that ended up paying off. So good on you. Kings love that offensive production.
Well, it worked.
Yeah.
They got him 3 goals. They might not have scored any without him.
Hey, the Ducks scored 4. So, and just again to voice the inabilities of both the Southern California teams, the Ducks and Kings combined for 7 playoff goals in 8 total playoff games between the two of them. The Sharks scored 8 on the Ducks in Game 3. So that's how that went.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
No.
That's not good.
But Vegas Sharks is the only series that we have confirmed. We do have 2. Both the Western Conference series are confirmed. Vegas Sharks
and
I like the Sharks.
Jets.
I want Vegas to lose, but I think the Sharks are a team that could, if they played like they did against the Ducks, they'll be right there with them. And now that I thought about it more, I don't know. I think we might have brought this up on the show at some point. During the season, the Sharks were caught in some controversy about comments that they had over Winnipeg.
Oh, yes.
For saying their Wi-Fi sucked and it was cold all the time.
It's cold in Winnipeg. Gee, what a shocker.
Well, they said it was like, what's the least favorite city to visit on the road? And they said Winnipeg because it's depressing and there's no Wi-Fi. So I want the Sharks Winnipeg conference final so we can have that rivalry play out again.
God.
It's cold in Winnipeg in the winter. Wow, really?
The Sharks versus Wi-Fi.
Well, see, that's going to be that's going to be the Jets' secret weapon when the Sharks come into town, right? Like they're going to get all frustrated because the hotel Wi-Fi is not going to be really good. And
I can't watch my Netflix.
Exactly. They're going to be all frustrated on game day. Won't be able to focus because they didn't.
Here we go. Let's get them, boys.
Blue Jackets are on now?
Yeah, they're taking the ice right now. Both teams.
The beach.
Come on, Beach. I believe in you. I believe in you.
I Beach leave.
It's fucking Washington. Like, come on. You for as much as Ohio sports is known for choking, Washington sports is right up there.
Not Ohio sports, just Cleveland sports.
Cincinnati's not exactly been great.
Well, you got to remember. The Cincinnati had the Big Red Machine. They won the World Series in '90.
The Bengals choked that one Super Bowl away against Montana.
Yeah, and the Reds of recent years in the playoffs have not exactly been inspiring.
Well, this is true. Come on, guys. Gotta be there.
So we could have all second round series decided by the end of the night, or who knows? Maybe we'll drag each one on for a while. But either way, someone's playing the Penguins who doesn't want to play them. And
right.
That's fun.
Right.
Man.
And if you guys win, you get Tampa, right?
Yeah, which, sucks as a matchup because it's like, if the Leafs somehow manage to win, it's like we survived against all odds against the goddamn Bruins, and now it's like the best team in the conference. Yay.
Right.
That's seeding.
Right. That's the great part of the seeding is, hey, you beat the number 2 team? Well, here's the number 1 team. Like that happened to the Ducks when they were the 7th seed back when they did reseeding and they went when they made that run to the conference to the Stanley Cup final. They beat the number 2 Red Wings and then they beat the number 1 Stars. But that's different. It's like that's an amazing underdog sort of idea. This is, well, you were the 3rd best team in the conference, but here's what you get to do instead.
Yeah, like usually if you're like the 3rd best team under the old system, 3rd best team in the conference, you would have played the 6th best team.
Yeah.
And then following that, like now it's like it used to be if you were the if you were the 3rd best out of 8, you got something in a easier matchup because it's like, oh hey, you're going to play a lower seed. Now it's no, you got to play the higher seed. And if you win, you get to play the even higher seed. So yay for you. And
why did they change it anyway? Why can't we just go back to the 1 through 8?
They wanted to stimulate regional rivalries.
No, it bores us. I mean, honestly, God, I don't. The last thing I want is to see my team play Pittsburgh again.
The regional rivalry that is Tampa Bay Toronto. Come on.
Right. Well, no, but here the idea is that setting it up like this. So, yes. The Jackets have been historically killed by the Penguins, but the idea is that you keep putting these teams against each other, that some sort of animosity would organically grow.
I think that's already mission accomplished. I don't think the Blue Jackets fans like the Penguins very much.
Yeah.
No,
right.
and
Penguins fans don't give 2 thoughts about the Blue Jackets.
Right, exactly.
It is a madman type situation. It's like where the Penguins are like, I don't even think about you.
I don't think about you at all.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's not even, all that aside, I mean, if the Penguins were terrible, like if the Jackets were the 1 seed and the Penguins barely got into the playoffs, I still wouldn't want to play them again because what's this going to be the 3rd time? Well, if they get that far, they've made the playoffs 4 times. And of those, if they beat Washington, of those 4 times, they'll play Pittsburgh 3 of them. Come on, enough already. And it's the same old matchups as long as the teams stay the way they are. It's going to be the same damn matchups every year. And I mean, nobody needs that.
Well, here's my counterpoint to that. Okay. So under the old system, the Mighty Ducks, their first 4 playoff, or I guess then into the Anaheim Ducks, the first 4 times they made the playoffs, they went, in 97, 99, 03, and then, 4 out of the first 5 times they went to the playoffs. They played the Red Wings at some point. And I think the Ducks have played the Red Wings in the playoffs 5 times. And that was without the seeding forcing this. So even in the old system, you would still end up playing the same team.
Yeah, but yeah, I suppose it's just.
So this is just to kind of.
But at least it was organic. Though.
Yeah, it was organic. Exactly. Like it wasn't like guaranteed. You know.
And yes, you do have a situation where the Atlantic Division is stupidly created. So you have the Florida teams in with those Northeastern teams.
A bunch of original 6 teams, and also Tampa and Miami.
Right, but at the end, at the end of it though, I think the NHL is happy that they get Toronto, Boston. The NHL is happy that they could get Washington, Pittsburgh again. That they could get Columbus, Pittsburgh. That they got Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. That they got Sharks, Ducks. That they got Vegas, LA. That they could get, LA, San Jose, or LA, Anaheim. That they got Winnipeg, Minnesota. That sort of stuff. Like that's exactly what they're aiming to do, and it works to an extent. It's not the league's fault that the Jackets can't beat the Penguins. Is what the ultimate problem.
Well, yeah, but I mean at the same time,
keep it in, boys. Keep it in. There you go.
For how long did we say was the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry really a rivalry? Where it's like, yeah, they play each other a lot, but one team seems to keep winning these matchups all the time. So
yeah.
I don't care. But then the Red Sox broke through, and all of a sudden it became intense, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. To put it in another way. Imagine the day that Michigan actually beats Ohio State.
Oh my God! Speaking of that, on Amazon Prime, they have this show called I guess All or Nothing or Against All Odds or something. I don't remember what it is.
Right.
It's a season with Michigan football, and Jim Harbaugh. Oh, it's beautiful. He is a bigger fucking asshole and douchebag than I ever imagined possible.
It's like not only is not exactly motivating his team to
I don't know, man, but you know what? It's like the best part of it is like he's already known for being basically insane, but he's like this dork on top of it. I was watching a little bit of it last night. I'm like, this is beautiful. He's so screwed up. But I only watched about 10 minutes of it, but I've just found it yesterday, but I got to start watching it and checking it out.
Look, I look forward to the start of college football season where Jim Harbaugh once again coaches Michigan to losses against Michigan State and Ohio State.
Yeah, another 7-5 season.
Another 7-5 season will they lose to their two biggest rivals.
Right, money well spent. Come on, guys.
Oh,
why can't we kill you to come out and score, 4 goals right out of the gate? All right, that might be asking a little much there, huh?
I am a nervous fucking wreck watching this Tide hockey game, and it's like fuck you, Vegas. You don't have to experience this.
They don't know this. They don't know from this. They just don't understand it. They have no idea what this feels like. None.
No, it's like I said on this podcast and in the thread. The NHL is pain. The NHL is misery. The NHL is agony. The NHL is losing on the Golf Channel. And the other thing that I put in the thread that was, and I thought about it, and it's kind of true. Vegas, almost every team at some point, whether it's, for the Ducks right now, it's being swept in the Golf Channel, right? But we've all sat through the idiocy that this league is. Every single one of our teams has had an only in the goddamn NHL moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vegas hasn't had an only in the goddamn NHL moment because they are an only in the goddamn NHL moment.
Right.
Only
in the NHL could this stupid team exist and do
be
this well.
A cup contender.
Yeah.
And I think legit too. I think a legit cup contender. Would I put them? Oh.
Think about Major League Baseball and the expansion teams that they've seen there. Yes, eventually the Diamondbacks won pretty quickly for what they were. Mm-hmm. And yes, the Rays finally made it to a World Series eventually. But and the Marlins have been, the Marlins. But none of those teams were anywhere close to being good when they came into the league.
No, I mean, Arizona was maybe 70 wins good, which is good for an expansion team, but terrible otherwise.
Right.
I think the Rockies maybe too, but that was because they were hitting, everything that you basically if you got a little bit of bat on the ball, it went 800 miles at the old stadium. But God,
right,
this is misery.
But that would never happen. The Vegas Golden Knights wouldn't happen in MLB.
No,
they wouldn't happen in NBA.
No,
maybe you could put together a halfway decent football team. But the most recent expansion team was Houston, and they were the carpet that we all walked on. I mean, poor David Carr. He thinks he's still back in 1997 at this point.
David Carr, the two most recent, if you want to know about the two most recent NFL expansion teams, that's David Carr and Tim Couch. How their football.
Yeah, ask Tim Couch if he still speaks English.
Yeah,
and the thing of it is,
Tim Couch has an honored position. He is the first name on the QB jersey.
True. No, actually, he's the second name, Mike. I hate to break it to you.
Oh, is he?
Ty Detmer's the first. Ty Detmer's the first name.
I always get a kick out of hearing Ty Detmer, hearing that name, because I'm like, God damn it! I remember it from the old Madden games, and it's just a little it's like I said, it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
And Tim Couch, I don't know, like his third or fourth year here, just got the shit kicked out of him in a game, and he cried afterwards because the fans were like cheering when he got hurt. And back then you're like, people were like, oh, what a pansy and all that. Well, now that we know what we know about concussions, I don't know. It's like, man, I hope you all still feel good about that.
I'd say two things. One, now that what we know about concussions, and two, now what we know about playing for the Browns, crying is acceptable and understandable in that situation.
Well, they're gonna add another name to the jersey on Thursday.
Who are the Browns gonna draft, Greg?
This is the question. So I'm gonna set you up. I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
But so the draft, the Browns have the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
Right.
They also have what? The number 4?
Number 4.
The number 1 and number 4 picks.
Right.
Great. Sam Darnold is projected by most to be the number 1 prospect in the draft. However, I have also seen the Browns taking Saquon Barkley or Josh Allen of Wyoming. Josh Allen, a quarterback out of Wyoming. Many think maybe the next Joe Flacco. Saquon Barkley, a running back who, yes, he's most predicted to be the best running back prospect in years, but you also don't pick running backs high in the first round anymore.
Especially
because they drafted Trent Richardson.
Especially Penn State running backs. Go ahead and give me a list of all the great Penn State running backs over the last 20 years.
Yeah. So, the Browns have an opportunity here, 2 top 5 picks, an opportunity to really turn this franchise around after the worst season in their history, an 0-16 mark. What will the Cleveland Browns do at number 1? Greg, the floor is yours.
Hashtag the land.
What I would like to see them do, this isn't what they're going to do. I'm going to tell you what I'd like to see them do. I would like to see them, looking at the draft right now, okay, I think that they could still get Josh Allen at number 4. I would like to see them take the very best offensive lineman they can find in that number 1 spot.
Ooh.
All right. Or take your quarterback, which, then you might want to go Sam Darnold, and then you go with the best lineman and the bunch. What they're probably going to do is they're probably going to take Barkley at 1 and hope that Allen's still there at 4.
Oh, boy.
Because, look at what they can say then. They can say, well, we've got a great running back and a great quarterback, and all these idiot fans around here get all fired up. Super Bowl, and it's like, no, they
don't even have Joe Thomas anymore.
I know.
They don't have a line.
I know.
Your running back and quarterback are going to be useless if there's no one to protect them.
Right. That's what I don't know. I don't think Darnold wants to play here, and I think that should play a role in deciding whether you want him or not.
Okay, who does?
I understand that, but
does he know what it means to be a Cleveland Brown?
Well, not many people do. But seriously, I don't think he wants to be here, and that's going to be. You don't want a guy that does. Sure, no one wants to be here, but you don't want a guy that came right out and said, "I don't want to play in Cleveland."
Did he say that?
I don't think he.
Maybe it was Rosen that said that. Maybe it was Josh Rosen.
I think it was Rosen because Darnold. Everything that I know about him and everything that I've seen, because again, he comes from San Clemente High School. San Clemente is one of my towns. It's a big deal. There's a big draft party on Del Mar on Thursday night.
Okay,
that I have to go to. But he's been very careful to say that he will play wherever, whatever team.
Maybe I'm thinking of Rosen. Then Rosen said he didn't want to play here.
Yeah, well, Josh Rosen also had a hot tub in his dorm room at UCLA. Of course, he doesn't play in Cleveland.
I think
that kind of just sounds like Johnny Manziel 2.0, doesn't it? Like,
the thing with the quarterback thing is that I don't know, man. Like, I'd almost be willing to make a deal because I'm not entirely sold on any of these guys. I think that Allen is probably the most prototypical quarterback, but that's like doing what they've done for years. Okay, well, Carson Wentz worked out from a smaller school, so we'll get the guy that reminds us of Carson Wentz. Well, here's the problem with that: he's not Carson Wentz. You
should have just drafted Carson Wentz when you should have had
when you had the chance, exactly. Instead of trying to go out and find the guy that's like him. I don't know what they'll do. I really If I had to bet on it, Barkley at 1, hoping that Allen's still there at 4. That's what I think they'll do.
Man.
Or they go the opposite. Or they go the opposite, and I've heard that for as much as Darnold and Rosen and even Mayfield have impressed people, they are hung up on this Josh Allen like nobody else. Them and Mel fucking Kiper. And I think that is just a recipe for disaster.
The fact that the Browns seem hung up on someone tells me they're probably going to be a bust.
Right.
Like, okay, look. The Cleveland Browns just need to take a page out of George Costanza's book from Seinfeld. If every instinct you've ever had is wrong, then the opposite must be right.
Right.
Like, Browns, whatever your gut reaction is, do the opposite.
Now, as good as it is normally for a team to have 2 top 5 picks, that should set them up for the future. But do you think that this is almost a bad thing for Cleveland because they give themselves they think that they're safe, that they have too many options at this point?
Oh, I think giving them any options is too many. I think the NFL should step in and do this. They should say, we're not going to let you do this. We're going to call Belichick and go, who would you pick? And that's who you're going to get.
But
that's what
if they only had the 1 first-round pick and it was number 1 overall, I think there wouldn't be this discussion. Okay, we're taking Sam Darnold. We're done with it.
Right.
But the fact that they have all this leeway, they are like, well, yeah, maybe we can take Saquon Barkley. Maybe we can take Josh Allen.
They're going to outthink themselves.
Right.
That's what worries me the most, is that they're going to outthink themselves. But my understanding is that they really like Josh Allen. And I wouldn't
What's Josh Allen's batting average? What's his WAR? Because obviously that means a lot to the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Jonah Hill's on staff.
Right.
Or did they let him go finally, I thought?
No, I don't think so. They let the other guy.
That was the head of, I think, player personnel, I think.
Yeah, right. I can't remember his name, but I think that, I think Allen will be there at 4. If that's their guy and he's the guy they want, trade that number 1 pick and try to get some more value out of it. If Josh Allen's your guy.
But if Josh Allen is the guy you want and he's the guy who you absolutely need, then why not pick him 1 and then? Because
he could still be there at 4 and you could pick up 2 or 3 extra picks is why.
Yeah. But
here's my thinking on it too. If you're, because I don't think any of these guys are a standout, head and shoulders above the rest number 1 pick. So why not trade that number 1 pick? And at 4, okay, let's say that somebody does take Allen, and then they take Darnold, and then they take Rosen off the board. You still got Baker Mayfield sitting there, who I think is going to be a good NFL quarterback, and you got nothing to lose by moving that pick. I don't know that. Like I said, the rumor has been Barkley at 1, Allen at 4. And that to me is just the dumbest thing you could possibly do.
Brought to you by the minds who said Carson Wentz wouldn't be a top 20 NFL quarterback.
Right. That guy did get fired, by the way, and that's part of the reason why. But
because he didn't want to draft.
They didn't think Carson Wentz was going to amount to anything, but they love Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel was drafted off the advice of a homeless man. I'm not making that up. Like, that happened.
When it comes to to Saquon Barkley, like, I know he's good and he was a Heisman. Did he win the Heisman? No.
No.
That was Baker Mayfield.
Mayfield.
That was Mayfield. Yeah. Right. He was the favorite for a long time. I just don't know how we haven't learned enough at this point that no matter how good they look, you don't take running backs this high anymore.
No, absolutely not. Not in today's NFL.
Disposable. They're so disposable.
But, look at the Patriots. They had 5 running backs that played in the Super Bowl. Same with the Eagles. They had Garrett Blount, but they also had a couple other guys. There's the days of even like Adrian Peterson are long gone. You've got one guy in the NFL now that really only did it for 1 season, Ezekiel Elliott. Then he was gone for 6 games from suspension, so we don't know if he would have done it again this year or not. But he's really kind of a throwback to a different era with the workhorse running back. It just doesn't happen anymore. And I think you're just wasting a good pick when you can get a guy in the 4th or 5th round. It's going to be every bit as good as what you need for the kind of offense you want to run. Why waste a high pick on it when you could trade that pick and get linemen that you desperately need. You could get depth, which is what you desperately need. Because I think the team is, I think they're more talented than their record indicates, but they have no depth. It's like if you lose one starting guy, that's it. There's no, the next guy down, the next guy up is terrible. And that's what they need is depth. And I don't know that they're going to get it by doing this, but that's my bet. I don't know who they're going to take 1 or who they're going to take 4, but I know that Josh Allen's probably going to be the guy they take from the quarterbacks. That's my prediction.
God, I hope not.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I saw that too. 3-1 Caps.
Yeah, that's
Leafs are leading Boston after 2.
Number 2 is the Giants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the Giants are going to be going for a QB.
I think they will.
Are they? I don't know. Like, yeah, you want, obviously Eli is towards the end of his career and you want somebody to hand the ball off to, but I don't know. The Giants still seem to me like, despite having that number 2 pick and having that bad year last year, they still seem to me like they think that they are a team that can succeed.
That they're closer to being good again than they probably are.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think if the Browns don't take Barkley, that I think Barkley goes to the Giants. Because that's something that they could use as a solid running back. Because I think they have a lot else, especially with them keeping Odell Beckham and not trading him, it looks like.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I think they got to take a quarterback. I think especially if like Darnold or Rosen's still sitting there, but the guy that I really like is Baker Mayfield. I think he's going to be good. And he's going to have a chip on his shoulder because, they don't think he's you know what I mean? I don't know.
His stock has risen as the offseason's gone along.
I mean, yeah, he's only 6 feet tall, but you know who else is only 6 feet tall? Drew Brees. He's pretty good.
Hell, that Doug Flutie guy was pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, I get that Allen's 6'5" and all that, and that's great and everything, but, come on, get the guy that can play. And I don't understand this either with the NFL. If a guy can play, he can play. If you look at his film and you go, this guy can play, he can play. It's not like, well, he can't do it against this or that. No, he can play. He'll work it out.
But at the same time, how many guys have been Heisman Trophy winners? And we say, oh yeah, he can play, and then you get him to
a lot of times though, the Heisman Trophy winner won't, make it 7th round, whatever. They don't get picked early a lot of times.
Yeah, hell, the last Oklahoma quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy was Jason White.
Yeah, I don't think he even got drafted, did he?
I think he got drafted in like the 6th round, maybe. But yeah, he either got not drafted or it was late. So, I don't know. And then the Jets, one way or another, whatever quarterback, the highest available quarterback left at that point is the one they're taking. Whether it's Darnold, Rosen, Mayfield, whoever, Allen, whoever they think is the best quarterback left at 3 is who they're taking.
See, I'm looking at some mock drafts. Like the first one had the Browns taking Darnold first. So this one's got them taking Josh Allen. The Giants taking both have had Giants taking Barkley at 2. Jets get Sam Darnold. And then the Browns take Bradley Chubb from North Carolina State, a defensive end. And Mayfield goes to the Broncos, although I saw one say that Arizona was going to trade up to get Mayfield. I'd like that move a lot if the Cardinals did that. But
the Cardinals need somebody.
But I think Denver could use Baker Mayfield too.
The Cardinals QB situation will remain as it has.
In a state of flux, as it has for the last 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Sam Bradford is the cure to all problems for
Sam Bradford, and if he gets hurt, which he probably will, then there are the 2 schmucks they always rely on to come in.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a McCown out there somewhere they can use.
Yeah, and plus, there's probably a McCown floating out there.
Right, there's always a McCown somewhere.
Cardinals are fine. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, it'll be just fine. Just fine. So, all right. Anyway, we got anything else, guys? We're way over the 2-hour mark here. So,
no.
All right.
Once again, the NBA falls by the wayside.
We'll get to it next week. It's turning into Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon here. It's like, we'll get to you next week. Sorry, NBA, we ran out of time tonight, but we'll have you on again next week.
Legitimately, our NBA playoff coverage is just going to be, and the Golden State Warriors swept the Toronto Raptors in 4 games.
No, to be perfectly honest, the only time I've seen any playoff NBA basketball was 10 minutes on SportsCenter the other night because I just left ESPN on after whatever. I forgot what I was even watching. And it was on in the background of the bar I was at the other day. I've been so checked out of the NBA playoffs, especially now. Like, and when I do see the results and I see who's winning and who's losing, it's so clear that the East is not going to win, and it's going to be who's ever between the Rockets and the Warriors. So, congratulations, Golden State, on your 4th NBA title with this group.
Yeah.
Right? Right? Like
Third.
Well, is it 3rd with this group?
Yeah. Their 3rd title, right? Yeah, right. 4th overall, 3rd with this group.
Either way, like, I see zero drama happening in these NBA playoffs.
Well, the big drama was were the Cavs going to fall behind the Pacers 3-1, and they didn't. It's tied 2-2. That's it. There you go.
But, you know, all the NBA heads, Bill Simmons, ESPN, they're all going to convince us that the NBA is a thing right now and it's so exciting and entertaining and blah, blah. No.
They haven't convinced us. They can try all they want. It's not going to happen.
The Warriors will win in at least 5 games, in June. And I'm not going to watch I'm not going to watch a single NBA basketball game between now and then.
Not as long as there's hockey to watch, no. And then there's baseball to watch after that, and then there's NASCAR to watch after that. So sorry, NBA, I just don't see you making the schedule this week.
Yeah,
sorry.
Sorry.
Anyway, all right, so if that's it, we're going to call it a night. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and the YouTubes, and you can also find us on Facebook. We will see you all next time.
Later.
Adios.